morning, and welcome to the Joint Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners meeting of August the 5th, 2025. I am Briggs Simmons, the Planning and Zoning Chair. Prior to this meeting, announcements were posted and notices were sent to all board members, commissioners, staff, interested parties, and applicants to participate in this meeting. I will now turn the meeting over to Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones to introduce and confirm the presence of the commissioners. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones, the Chairwoman of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, and certainly I'll start with a roll call with our Board of Commissioners. District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell III. Present. District 2 Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones is not here with us tonight. District 3 Commissioner Martin Raxton. Present. District 4 Commissioner and Vice Chair Mark Alcarez. Present. And Chairman Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones present, and we do have a quorum, and I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also present, we have members of the Planning and Zoning Board. If you would confirm your presence when I call your name. Our Vice Chair, Rob Thomas, District 3.
Present.
Melissa Polk, District 4.
Present.
Oric Curry, District 2.
Present.
Brandon Penniman, District 1.
Present.
Frank Payne, our at-large member.
Present.
And Chris Small, our Douglas County School System representative.
Present.
Thank you very much. We have a quorum. Allison Duncan, our Planning and Zoning Manager, will now introduce the county staff and Planning and Zoning staff present in the meeting. Ms. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have with us our Chief of Staff, Tiffany Stewart Stanley. We have our County Attorney, Laren Wiggins. We have our Deputy Assistant County Attorney, Audrey Lewis. We have our Managing Director of DOT, Suleiman Rana. We have our Deputy Director of Development and Planning, Travis McDonald. We have our DOT Engineer, Bruce Mercer. We have our Zoning Administrator, Austin Cronin. The County Planner, Melody Glenn. Our Planning and Zoning Board Clerk, Johanna Womack. We always like to thank our Communications Department and our Sheriff's deputies for being here as well. And Mr. Chairman, if I may make a note for the group on the agenda
Yes,
change.
please.
So for anybody who is here tonight for application Z 2025-49, that is the application from Shree Real Estate Development, LLC. That application has been withdrawn. There is no pending action on that at this time. So if you are here for Z 2025-49, that application is withdrawn and will not be heard tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Duncan. There is a reversionary clause that applies to each rezoning, and that is the applicant, the agent, or the property owner has 24 months to vest the zoning change after the Board of Commissioners has granted approval. So as far as tonight's procedures go, I will conduct the public hearing. Planning and zoning staff will announce each application, followed by a full presentation on that application. Then the applicant or their representative and members of the public in favor of the application will be able to present their information. They will have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes to speak on behalf of an application. Following that, opposition can also speak on the application. They also have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes to speak in opposition. After the opposition completes their input or the time has elapsed, public hearing will officially be closed. At that point, the staff will clarify any points of the zoning case. If the staff is unable to satisfy the board's questions, the board will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative, and this is not a time for them to represent their case. Planning and Zoning Board will then entertain a motion. Our first agenda item tonight will be to approve the minutes of the July 8th, 2025 regular Joint Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners meeting. Planning and Zoning Board members, after reviewing the minutes, are there any comments, changes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of July the 8th, 2025?
So moved. Make a motion to approve the minutes from July 8th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the July 8th, 2025 minutes, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, the minutes of the July 8th, 2025 meeting comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review the July 8th, 2025 minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions that need to be made? Being none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the July 8th, 2025 meeting?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 4 unanimous vote, and the motion carries with no opposition. And I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Our next agenda item was deferred at the last meeting. So at this point in time, Planning and Zoning Board, I'll need a motion to untable S 2025-58 so we can consider it tonight.
Mr. Chair, you don't need a motion to untable it because it was deferred.
Oh, we don't?
You can just go right into the document.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. All right. At this point in time, do we have any changes or updates on that? Because we've already had the public hearing on this matter.
Yes, sir. So staff met with the applicant for item S 2025-58 about a week or so after the meeting, July 8th, 2025. And so the applicant clarified the use at that time. So the use involves the assistance with daily activities and similar tasks to a personal care home for the elderly. However, the use may involve a one-on-one staff to patient under care ratio for greater supervision and behavioral support. The use may also involve greater intensity of care than a personal care home for the elderly that only provides for assistance with daily activities and non-medical care. And the use does not involve the applicant as a full-time resident of the facility. The Unified Development Code currently doesn't accommodate such a request. The personal care home is narrowly tailored for the routine activities, helping with routine activities and non-medical care. As a part of the moratorium on personal care homes, staff's navigating all relevant rules and regulations to understand the nuance of personal care homes at this time. So staff is considering this request as a personal care home request only for non-medical care and care of the elderly. So the nuance that community living arrangements provides is outside of the scope of uses permitted in Douglas County, and we'd consider that a use not allowed at this time. So this will maintain the owner occupancy requirement as well as the requirement that the primary caregiver act as without staff help and may have help from family members as typical of a personal care home that's owner occupied. And so staff's recommending approval of the special use permit as a family personal care home use only, based on the findings that the use will not modify the comprehensive plan or the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code, and the granting of the special use permit will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, with the conditions that the applicant shall submit to the Development Review Committee adequate plans to address the agency impact statements included within this staff report, as well as additional requirements under the relevant governing codes of these departments. All required improvements shall be made prior to the issuance of occupational tax certificate. Prior to the issuance of occupational tax certificate, the applicant must provide proof of permit issued by the relevant governing departments of the state of Georgia. A maximum of 2 vehicles shall be parked outside of the home at any given time. On-street parking is strictly prohibited. This condition is applicable to all residents and visitors. So there shall be no more than 2 unrelated individuals allowed to occupy a single bedroom. And the zoning and character of this property shall remain residential, but any required improvements to accommodate the personal care home shall be required to meet commercial plan review standards. So staff's recommending approval of the family personal care home use only. We would not recommend approval. We would recommend denial of the community living arrangement unless the board is so inclined to approve. And that concludes my update.
Great. Thank you very much. Actually, at this time, we've already had the public hearing on this, and
We can ask questions.
do you have any additional questions for the applicant or for staff, planning and zoning?
Chairman, this is Rob Thomas. I have a question for the applicant, please. Hello.
evening.
All right. So first of all, the conditions that were
Name and address.
the conditions that are there are not the same as what you're trying to do. In other words, there's certain nuances between what you want to do and what the county have already approved of allowing to do. You understand that?
Yes, I do understand that. And first of all, we had the opportunity to sit with the zoning planning, Ms. Duncan and Mr. Austin as well, and we went ahead to explain to them the difference between the PCA and the CLA. And we are aware that they don't have to go with what the DBHDD says, but the conditions they're giving us, we can meet. But the requirement that is going to be the family care, personal care home, that's not what the BHDD can approve for us to do. And I can tell you what the difference are.
Please.
And I'm going to just try to read. In Georgia, personal care homes and community living arrangements both provide residential support, but they differ in purpose, funding, and regulatory oversight. Here, the breakdown. For personal care home is regulated by Georgia Department of Community Health, DCH, Healthcare Facility Regulation Division. The purpose is to offer housing, meal, and basic personal services like bathing and medication assistance to adults who need some help but not intensive. And the funding often private pay or other Medicaid waivers like SOS CCSP. But what we are requiring or asking, the special permit that we are seeking is for community living arrangement, CLA. This is regulated by Georgia Department of Community Health, DCH, and serves individuals funded by the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, DBHDD. And the purpose is to provide daily personal support, 24/7 comprehensive individual plan support and care exclusively for adults with behavioral, physical, and developmental disability. The residents are funded by DBHDD through the Now and Come. Now, the difference is for personal care home, looks like it's only for adults that require just personal care. But the CLA that we're asking for permission is exclusively for people with developmental, behavior, and physical disabilities. So they are quite different. And in Douglas County, there is no provision for that. And we are asking so that these individuals that are Douglas County residents will be accommodated, integrated into the Douglas community if we are given the permission that we are asking. I know PCH is quite different from what we are asking, but we're asking for accommodation and special permit. And that was one of the things that we explained to the zoning zoning and planning. And I do have
Well, we're not open to public right now. We already had that last week, or last session that we had it. It's just strictly now, just, we're gonna have to vote on it, so. It won't. I understand.
No.
Yeah, we just can't do,
This-
yeah. This is a little different because we've already had the hearing. Excuse
This
me.
is-
Excuse me, out of order.
Excuse me, out of order.
Order.
Out
Yeah,
of order.
Oh, yes, I understand. I need clarification with staff, though,
okay.
please.
Yes, sir.
So not just is not in our code, is it not in our code because it's residential? Because it sounds like to me this could be done in a commercial setting, correct? I mean, if she came to you in a commercial setting, and say she had a commercial building and wanted to do these, perform these tasks with person with disabilities, would the code then allow for that?
So it's more of the intensity of the use. The current personal care home, it splits it up into different types. One can go commercially. However, this seems akin to a different use entirely. More of like a long-term living arrangement, skilled nursing, more supervision.
Okay, so
Greater
she
intensity
came
of
to
care.
us for, they came for a business license in a commercial setting with the code accommodate what she's trying to do. I'm just trying to put my arms around, do we have anything that says that that we can allow what she's doing just in a different setting, different zoning, I should say?
Yeah, so I would say it's currently a use not allowed within the entirety of the
Okay, so
code.
residential, commercial at all, the whole, there's
Yes,
nothing
sir.
in our code that even address what she's trying to do.
Yes, sir. But as a function of the time given for the moratorium, we're taking a look at all the different regulations and seeing if the board would like to take us in a direction where nuance is needed, or whichever direction they'd like to take.
Okay. Because obviously, somebody can do it. Obviously, there's a need, somebody with developmental problems have, maybe other counties may allow it or what have you, but you're saying we just don't have anything that falls in this category, whether it be residential or commercial.
Yes, sir, not at this time.
Okay,
Yes,
so just the nuances, because those like 3 different categories, right? We have like 3 different categories right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you go over those real quick, just so everybody can understand the nuances with them?
So we have the family personal care home that's more outfitted for residential-oriented sites, the congregate personal care home, and then the group personal care home.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Which one
Yes,
that
sir.
you have to have a residents living there? Which one of those 3?
The
categories?
family personal care home for the residential.
And the other 2, you don't have to have a resident, primary resident living there, is the other 2,
Well,
correct?
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed in the residential. So the family personal care home is the only one allowed in the residential.
Okay.
But
And the
it
other
does
2 would
have
be
that.
commercial?
Yes,
Just
sir.
commercial use, okay. All right, I just want to make sure we understand those 3 different categories. One is residential, the other 2 are commercial.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we don't have anything that kind of falls under her category she's asking for with special use permit. We don't have anything that even falls in that category at all. So this is like a special use permit in a sense.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Just some clarification on that.
All right, I got questions for applicant, please. Not for the applicant, excuse me, for staff. Okay, so, just trying to get clarity on this. The original ask in the application was for a special use permit for a personal care home,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, from the meeting that you guys had with the applicant, it came to pass that pretty much she was looking to do a community living arrangement.
So the meeting was more about a clarification of the use, just to meet with us to see about, I believe the particular issue was about the owner occupancy requirement. So we just had to set some time to meet with her and go over the particulars of her request.
Right, and when you guys went over the particulars, and Allison, maybe you'll be able to help out with this. When you guys went over the particulars, it seemed that what she was trying to do more fit into community living as opposed to personal care home.
Right, so that's correct. The applicant provided us a definition of what she wanted to do,
Uh-huh.
right? So I think that what staff is trying to say, and I apologize if we are confusing this, but I think what staff is trying to say is our code only allows a personal care home. And if you heard kind of what Austin said for his recommendation, we would recommend approval of a personal care home. The applicant has made it clear that is not what they want to do.
Okay,
So
so-
if they are intent on doing a community living arrangement, the staff's position is that is a use not allowed in our code.
Right.
So that should not be approved as a special use permit for a personal care home.
So truthfully, then, the application shouldn't be approved because what the applicant is looking to do is a community living arrangement, not a personal care home.
So again, what we have communicated to the applicant is that at this time, our code does not, in our opinion, account for her specific request.
So truthfully, then this application is not really to ask for personal care home, it's to ask for a special accommodation for something that we don't even have in the code yet.
That would be our opinion at the staff level. Now, again, what you directed us to do when you deferred this is to meet with the applicant to make sure she understood the requirements of the personal care home and what is allowed in our code.
Right.
As Austin said, there was discussion about the owner occupancy requirement. There was also discussion about the number of staff that she had proposed to have there. So that was the meeting that we had. It wasn't about changing her application or necessarily changing uses in the code. There's a moratorium in place, and we did indicate that we could contemplate a whole series of uses as a part of the moratorium to see, as Austin had said, do we need to get a little more nuanced in our code?
Right.
But right now, again, to refer back again to what Austin had indicated in his staff report, personal care home, we are okay with that in this property that has to meet all the requirements of the code. Anything beyond that, we would generally consider to be a use not allowed in our code, and it is not our recommendation that you would approve that.
Right. Okay, so real quick, I want to streamline this so hopefully it doesn't take as long as it may have to take unnecessarily. So the ask on this application is for personal care home. What she's attempting to do is community living arrangement and ask for a special allowance to do that.
So there is no provision for a special allowance for something that is otherwise not
Right.
allowed under the code.
I'm asking you, is that what's happening today?
That would be my impression of what's happening. Well,
That's perfect. That's all
personal care home, right? So what we have before you is an application for personal care home. Anything that she's wanting to do that is not a personal care home, that is not something that we would recommend.
I was just about to ask legal to come up. So quick question for you before you go
Okay,
into your explanation, legal.
Yes.
Is it, and this is to get, so hopefully we can clear this up and make it easier. Is there any way that could even happen today? That Could we,
So-
something that's not in our code, could we allow for it or even call for a special
No.
use or something like that?
No, it would be improper because it's a use not allowed.
Right, okay, so,
So I think to put it succinctly, I
Yeah.
think the issue was that the deferment was in part because there was some consideration about outside personnel coming in. And I think what she has presented is how the state regulates the difference between the community versus the residential. We don't have it. It's not allowed in our code. So it would be improper to consider it as a use not allowed.
okay, right, so I just want to, for the record, make a statement here. It seems that there's something that's being asked today that's not necessarily possible because we have not even created a code for it within Douglas County. And this is just a personal statement that it seems like this is what I'm getting from all of this that's happening right now. So it seems like there's something that's being asked for that's not possible. That the applicant is aware that what she's doing goes outside the purview of personal care home and would love to see some code for community living arrangement, but that code has not been created yet. And it's not something that we could just snap and do today. So I just want to make that for the record, and after that, I yield. Thank you.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board? Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Allison. Okay.
Yes, sir.
As we all know, this is extremely confusing.
Yes,
Extremely confusing. So first, let's go back to say you guys sat down with the applicant. You did what to get to basically what we can't truly vote on, basically, because this is not allowed. Am I correct?
Personal care home is allowed. That's what
Yes.
the application was filed for.
Got
So
it.
if,
Okay.
again, that is what we have considered this, when this went through our whole process. We've said this is a personal care home. These are the requirements of the code. My recollection of the last meeting is there was a bit of a pause when the applicant had said, this is how we plan to conduct our business.
Right.
Because I think she was referencing that she would be servicing individuals that needed a greater level of care. And I tried to clarify at the last meeting, where, again, I admittedly probably confused you. These are not skilled nursing facilities
Right.
under our code.
Right.
Now, there is also the moratorium in place, and during the moratorium, it is our understanding that the board would like for the staff to look broadly at this whole, range of what could be, possible care facilities for elderly and disabled individuals. So we are in process of doing that. What we are presenting to you here tonight from the staff's perspective is a personal care home only. If you choose to approve it's a personal care home, we will tell the applicant that is what is approved. Anything that is not that is a use not allowed. Does that clarify or
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah, it does.
more confusing?
It does. But it appears the client is looking to do something a little bit different that we can't approve.
That would be my opinion.
And I'm just
but
looking at legal, she's peeking her. No, you're fine. You're fine. No, you're good. I was just watching her eyes telling me like, that's exactly what you said that we can't do.
Right.
And were you clear with the applicant as to these are the rules that this board has created? These are our planning and zoning and or ordinance resolutions or whatever we want to call them. These are the rules of play. And it doesn't fit kind of sort of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to do with your potential business. Because we can't create that today. It'll be something that you guys will have to bring back before the board to kind of say, okay, here's a new category when it comes to something. Yes.
I feel like we were clear, but I would also defer to the applicant if they would like to say that they took something different away from that meeting. But I feel like we were clear that under our code, it's not, the personal care home is what the application was presented for, and that is what
Understood.
we are treating. But if I would be happy to yield to the applicant if you would like to ask them if there's still any confusion about what is allowed from the
I'll love to
meeting.
hear from her. I mean, yeah, but don't go far. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you again. And what I want to, when we had the meeting, they were gracious enough to let us know it is a personal care home. And that was the option that we had when we were doing the application. When we sat down with them, we explained to them what we required. There is nothing for people with special need when it comes to Douglas County. The city of Douglas do have that. and they have CLA homes. That's the city of Douglas. Douglas County, it was during the meeting that we were made aware of that, because we brought up the issue that we do have a couple of CLA homes. When we went back to DBHDD, our funder, and said, we having issues, and said, no, there are a couple of group homes, CLAs in Douglas County. But you know, sometimes when
But in Douglasville, but in Douglas County, but
yes,
you
so
got to
when-
get this, the
exactly.
separation. There's
The
this
city as well
yes,
as the
county.
Douglas. So I
That is
really
correct.
don't know, and they didn't
Right.
know. So when I brought it up, and they said those are city of Douglas, so they already have it, and they have a bunch of them. And what we are asking is, these are Douglas County residents. They are special need, and people with developmental disability. They are family members.
Right.
We are trying to get home so that we can care for them. It's not skilled nursing services. No, they are not. These are not people like ex-convicts. No, these are your children, just like mine. These are your family members, just like ours. You're welcome to see. We already have one that is already in operation in Cobb County. You can come and see what we do. We would love to be in Douglas County. We already have a adult day center in Douglas County, and we love it. So whatever you can do to accommodate us, as well as zoning, we'll be honored to be here.
But what I want to make sure I'm clear, though, and I'll get Allison if you'll kind of come back and help me out with it. The rules which you're speaking of in Douglasville
Yes.
are, you can stay, she's fine, yes, yeah, you're fine. But the rules in Douglasville, yes, they differ,
Yes.
meaning from Douglas County.
Yes, sir.
Even though Douglasville sits in the county, and I know it gets confusing.
It is.
Because across the street, you know, my neighbors are in the county, but I'm in the city, and I get double hit, on that. So, but with that, we can't create something today in this forum that's conducive to what you're trying to do. Help me if I got it correct here, Allison. A community living care home is what you're trying to create.
Community living arrangements, sir.
Arrangement, okay.
Yes.
So but Douglasville has crossed that threshold of that type of special
Permit.
use.
Yeah.
But Douglas County, I'm assuming Allison, now that we know this, I think she'll start to work on that because we've got a moratorium
Oh,
on
yeah,
a
she
couple of things.
has. We saw it.
Oh, okay, see, so, but, yeah, but the sad part about it all is that we're not there yet, though.
Okay. I
And-
hope you get there soon, please.
I think we will, because we got a great leader in Allison who actually
Okay.
will, make sure that, that we have all those options, because we want to be just as competitive, in Douglas County. But thank you again, and I want to talk to Allison just one
Okay,
more last.
pleasure.
Yeah.
And I would also say the applicant has submitted information to us, and we've started, kind of incorporating that into what we are evaluating for the moratorium. And so we did commit to them that we would agree to take anything that they shared with us, and we would look at it as we, bring forward the recommendations on the personal care home to y'all.
And that's why I
she's
want to
correct.
share with her and you, and I know you well enough to know that now, knowing where we are and how we got here, you'll definitely take a look at it. Not to say that this board would agree to it, that she bring us something, so that's a whole nother, can of worms that, she'll have to deal with. But again, thank you, and thank you, Allison, for this clarification. And I understand, though, that the problematic side of this is that what she's wanting to do is not allowed in Douglas County. We have the same similar situation when it comes to package stores in the city of Douglasville and Douglas County. But those are the rules. So I'll say that. Thank you again, Allison.
Thank you.
And I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other comment? Forward. Just had one question for you, Allison, and hopefully you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
clarify. The city of Douglas or the city of Douglasville? Because there is a city of Douglas.
There's a city of
So I
Douglas.
just want to make sure.
I believe
what
it was city of Douglasville, correct? Yes, ma'am. City of Douglasville.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
Mhm.
you answered my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion on this matter. Do I have a motion on S 2025-58?
Can we have any discussion?
Yeah, discussion, yeah.
Make a motion and we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to deny application 2025-58, and I do want to leave space for discussion, please.
I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Now, Planning and Zoning Board, do we have any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment to the applicant first off.
Discussions with Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay, this generally then to everybody. You can sit down, ma'am. I just want to make general statements to the board. What she's, in my opinion, what she is attempting to do is a valiant effort and something that's needed within our community. There's a need there for housing for people with these differing abilities, and it's obvious that there's a need there. I just don't think that this is the proper location, nor do we have the capacity as a county right now to be able to do it because it's not in our code. And I think that sometimes cases like this can be divisive within our community because we don't see that there's good on both sides. There's people that care about their neighborhood and want these type of businesses in the proper place, which is great. And then there's also people who are trying to open businesses like that that are needed, which are great. And so it just seems that there's a little miscommunication here as opposed to there being any malice intended. And so I just wanted to make that known for the record that I think what the applicant is trying to do is great, but the location where she's trying to do it is not necessarily conducive right now to our code. That's it. I yield.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All of those in favor of the motion to deny S 2025-58 signify by raising your hand. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman. Nope. I'm sorry. All opposed? I'm sorry, Rob. Okay, Madam Chairman, S 2025-58 comes to the board with a recommendation for denial.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, but before I make my motion, I'd like to ask legal one quick question here, though, about this. Since this applicant went through the process only to find that we don't even have this category and probably expended some costs in doing this, is there a way, or is it proper to return those costs? No, that's not doable.
No, it's not. No, because
Okay.
you have to think about the time and the resources that the county has spent to
Okay.
evaluate the application, to meet with the applicant, to appear at these meetings, to advise these boards. And so, no, those costs are not refundable.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so item number, I'd like to make a motion to deny item number S 2025-58 in the form of a motion to deny.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 4 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to deny with no opposition. And I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Cronin, you have our next item, S 2025-64.
Yes, sir.
Point of order. We
Order.
will allow you all to exit the room, and then we will move on to our next item. You have the floor.
Give them a couple of minutes
Okay.
before we take up the next personal care home.
Okay.
Okay, so our next item is S 2025-64. This is a request for a special use permit to allow a personal care home at 3009 Pope Road. The lot is about 1.64 acres. This is in Commission District Number 3. So per the appraisal department data, a 2,468 square foot single-family detached principal dwelling is sited. The dwelling has 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. The applicant's proposing the family personal care home, which would permit up to 6 persons, unrelated persons, under care. We're taking a look at the relevant code sections. And personal care homes are monitored by the Georgia Department of Community Health. Annual inspections are held to check for compliance of the use with all the applicable rules and regulations, typically every 11 to 15 months. The proposed use will not alter the principal character of the use as a single-family residence and will operate as accessory only. The UDC controls that the applicant shall be a full-time resident of the facility, so the property will be owner-occupied, and the owner occupancy status might limit the amount of individuals under care, given the rules and regulations of the Department of Community Health as it relates to standards for a bedroom and a house plan arrangement. The proposed use might involve residents who have visitors, so limiting the storage of vehicles on the property, given that the site was not outfitted with designated parking for a commercial-oriented use, would ensure that the residential character of the exterior of the site is maintained. So we've taken a look at the special use criteria. It's currently zoned residential low density. And here's a picture of how it's been developed with a single-family residence. And here's a survey of the property. Here's the floor plan provided by the applicant, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. It's in the suburban living future land use and the traditional neighborhood character area. Staff's recommending approval with conditions based upon the findings that the use will not modify the comprehensive plan or the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code, and that the granting of the special use permit will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. The conditions proposed are that the applicant shall submit to the Development Review Committee adequate plans to address the agency impact statements included within the staff report, as well as additional requirements under the relevant governing codes of those departments. All required improvements shall be made prior to the issuance of occupational tax certificate. Prior to the issuance of occupational tax certificate, the applicant must provide proof of permit issued by the relevant governing department of the state of Georgia. A maximum of 2 vehicles shall be parked outside of the home at any given time. On-street parking is strictly prohibited. This condition is applicable to all residents and visitors. There shall be no more than 2 unrelated individuals allowed to occupy a single bedroom, and the zoning and character of the property shall remain residential, but any required improvements to accommodate the personal care home shall be required to meet the commercial plan review standards. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, I will open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. If you'd state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes.
Marvin Biard, 3009 Pope Road. I'm the one trying to start the personal care home. I'm looking to have 4 rooms, 2 shared and 2 personal rooms. It's going to be for the elderly. I will have a CNA watching with me and an RN to do weekly checks, if I could do that.
Oh. Could you speak up just a little bit?
Yeah, I will have, for now, if I can get the room, the whole house filled up, I will have a CNA with me and an RN to do monthly checks. And I'm trying to get up to 6 people in this building, in the house.
Okay, anything else?
That is it.
Did you hear the conditions that were read in?
Yes, I did.
Are you in agreement with those conditions should you be authorized to do this?
Yes, I'm in agreement.
Okay, thank you very much. If you just stand by, I bet we'll have some questions in a minute.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. If you would state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Hello, my name is Gertrude Mason. I've been here before severally. I am a business consultant, and I do pretty much assist people or individuals who are interested in opening personal care homes. I've been doing this for a number of years now. I've been a case manager for a number of years for the state of Georgia, and I've branched into doing my own thing. So Marvin approached me with this property. I have seen the property myself. It is situated in a very, to me, a very positive position. It has 2 entryways. We have gone as far as meeting some of our neighbors. We weren't really lucky with a lot. I think we spoke to about 3 people. We also spoke to an individual who was concerned about what if there was an emergency, how would the fire truck get in? We do have 2 entryways into the property, so that was not a concern. We do have 1 signed document in favor of using this property as a personal care home. That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? No one else? I will close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please approach the podium. You also will have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. State your name and address for the record, sir.
Jeremiah Pernack, 3040 Beaumar Road, Douglasville, Georgia. Douglas County, I just want to encourage you in this moment to look out at what this county is endowed with. This county is endowed with a very, very rich American spirit of home ownership. I don't think there's opposition between you up there and us out here. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Douglasville is at a very defining point with some other things going on in the county that we need to embrace what this county has. It's very, very special, and you need to embrace this, okay? So it's worth defending. Our community is a very strong community, and it's very much worth defending. I have experience in state's custody and in the group home system, and there are wide abuses that can occur in those kinds of situations. They need to be properly regulated. I would point to item 4 of the condition and ask you, how would you even conceivably regulate item number 4? Look at it closely. How would you even, what would you do? Would you go into the home and ask people's origin? Are you of the same family? In which bed do you sleep in? Now, you can do that in a commercial clinical environment. So I appreciate your thoughts about this is maybe a commercial need. We must protect the residential nature of Douglas County. There is a sleeping giant, and it's waking up. I promise you this, with some of the major developments in the broader Atlanta metropolitan area, and now locally here in Douglasville, we've got choices to make, hard choices, and if we're smart, we'll be Dunwoody of the West, okay? If we're foolish, we're going to enrich Dunwoody of the North. We need to have some really smart decisions. But this is a business. Make no mistake about it. We don't oppose the applicant on his character or on his past practice. They do own 6 other properties, so as a live-in, I don't know how they would be able to do that in this situation. But this is a business, okay? And to put it in a residential community, historically developed as a residential community, there's not a lot of places like what we've got on the Beaumar and Central Church corridor.
Okay.
There's not a lot of those places in the Atlanta metro. Yes, sir.
That's your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I see a number of people lined up. Remember, we only have 15 minutes allocated, and 2 have already gone. Name and address for the record, sir.
Okay, Wayne Bennett, 3123 Freedom Court, Douglasville, 30135. First of all, I attended the public hearing, the public information hearing on this matter on July the 15th. I did not know until I attended that hearing that the applicant was not required to be there. And he was not, nor was a representative. To me, as someone that lives in this community, that spoke volumes about their concern for the surrounding community of where they want to place this personal care home. First point. Okay. Second point, there are 2 manners of ingress and egress to this property, one off of Beaumar Road, one off of Pope Road. Both of them are extremely close, and I'm talking about within 100 feet of a very busy 4-way intersection of Beaumar and Pope Road, both of them. This intersection has only become busier in the last couple of 3 years with people trying to avoid the not Miracle Mile, but the Nightmare Mile on Fairburn Road from Lee Road to through the movie studio section of Fairburn Road. You all can take that as it is or whatever, but that is my moniker, Nightmare Mile, not Miracle Mile. Okay. Also, this property is within very close, it is in the proximity of the immediate proximity of the Lee Road connector, and there is a roundabout intersection plan for this that is going to greatly impact that entire area. And so I am not in favor of the approval of this personal care home application as a result of everything that I have just stated. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next person, please, name and address.
Christine Bick, 3942 Forest Drive. I would express some concerns for the safety of local residents, given that elderly patients can be prone to having some mental issues as well. If there is not a constant monitoring, and as he has other locations that he will need to be monitoring, it would call into question the safety of children playing out in the yard if a dementia patient got out and decided to interact with whoever that was. And so I would ask you to consider the safety of the residents. And with that, if the safety is called into question for those that are living in the surrounding area, it can affect the property value, because I know as a parent and a homeowner, I would not want to locate my family anywhere that was dangerous for them to reside and to be able to enjoy a lot of the benefits of living in Douglas County. And just as a resident that has invested time and taxes into the county, it would be a shame if there was enough question of safety to make me want to locate elsewhere. So, thank you.
Thank you. What are your comments? Next, sir.
Malcolm Mitchell, 3954 Forest Drive. I oppose and think the application should be denied. We went through something similar in our neighborhood, and I have no qualms about that type of facility having a need, but it is indeed that, a facility, and shouldn't be in a residential area on a street with children and school bus stops and the occasional lemonade stand. So I just appreciate it. Facilities remain where facilities should be, and a residential area remains a neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Hello, my name's Jessica Paranek. I live at 3040 Beaumont Road here in Douglasville. I do oppose this care facility. I have worked with elderly patients before. Many years ago, I also helped to care for my own grandmother in early stages of dementia until her time of death. And I have seen firsthand that loving people can become very violent when they are no longer the person you know them to be.
Thank you.
When they are no longer the person that you know them to be. I have children, and I don't want them to see that type of anger that I have seen firsthand myself. We live very close to this home, and like I said, I love elderly people. I believe that there is so much that they have to offer us, but when they are no longer who you know them to be, they can become very dangerous. And this is something that you have to provide more care for than one person or even 2 or 3 people. I've seen a man have to be held down by 6 people because he had no idea who they were, where he was, or even who he was. This is not something we want to have around young children, and especially in such a very busy intersection that is only becoming more busy. When elderly patients leave and they have this dementia, they don't know where they are. They are just trying to seek something familiar, and that can become dangerous when there is so much traffic around. And I've watched people go through that intersection, not even stopping. I've seen wrecks happen at this intersection. I don't believe that anybody is going to see them if they get out in the middle of the night. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Name and address, please.
Donna Deaton, 2971 Leah Lane. I've lived in the county for years. I have relatives that serve in the police, sheriff. We have family members that are first responders. I don't think this is a good, safe idea, especially for there. And if the roundabout does come in, and if it is an elderly person, which I don't know what type of people they would have there, but it could be very dangerous. It is totally up to you guys, who we depend on, to keep us safe and keep us happy. We've been here all our lives, some of us, and we would love to see our grandchildren continue to get to play and be happy. And we depend on you guys to give us the good vote, because we need to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
Rita Cochran, 2970 Leah Lane, Douglasville. Pretty much everyone has said what my thoughts were. I did have one question because we did have a gentleman come into our neighborhood, asking us to, sign letters that we were in agreement with the facility. Our street is directly across the street from the facility. And he had stated that their plans were to have caretakers on site. And I thought in the last meeting, the owner of the property is the caretaker, that they weren't bringing in outside people. So that was one of my questions and concerns. And two, I'm like everyone else. I mean, we can't get out of our street now. We can't get out, we can't get in. And with that roundabout, it's just going to get worse. So that's all I have to say. Thank you
very much. Next, please.
Fran Collum, 2986 Pope Road. I'm opposed to this because I don't think it's a safe place for a personal care home. I understand there is a need for them, but a residential area like ours is, with all the traffic, is just not where it should be. And we're concerned about the, decreased value of our property as well. It's just a family kid neighborhood, and that's just, not something that we want to see happen in our area.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Ryan Graham, 3118 Freedom Court, Douglasville, Georgia. I also oppose. I agree with most everybody. One thing that hasn't been said is the proposal to widen Bomar Road that they're trying to push through is just going to make things worse. And the plan for this just isn't appropriate. Widening Bomar Road isn't appropriate. This is a neighborhood road. It accesses other neighborhoods, but literally this area is a neighborhood road. It's not a commercial infrastructure area. If at this house, if a fire department has to stop there, and the way it is now, you might have room for one fire truck going each direction, which is going to cause a massive problem. And then at 2, if that roundabout's put in place, there's going to be nowhere other than the roundabout for a fire truck, because they won't pull in a driveway. An ambulance will, but a fire truck won't. So it doesn't fit, unfortunately. I think he has great intentions. I hope he has success, but I think this is just a bad location. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Michelle Chapman. I live at 3710 Cindy Drive. That's the corner of Pope Road and Cindy Drive. My biggest first complaint is the fact that during rush hour, it takes me like 15 minutes to get out of my own driveway, and building a business very close to my home is only going to make that worse. I can't even turn around in my yard, and I can't see because the shrubbery and stuff in the drainage ditch that my lawnmower can't get into keeps me from seeing. I mean, the traffic is just a disaster waiting to happen. People wreck in front of my house all the time. I mean, it's just difficult. I've been in my house for 26 years. I really don't want to see it get worse. And then, of course, there are several other opinions that have been shared that I agree with. But the traffic is the just bane of my existence. And please don't make it worse.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Please approach the podium. How are we doing on time? A minute and 56 seconds.
Hello, my name is Kristen Mitchell. I reside at 3954 Forest Drive. And I would like to request that you deny the permit based on the fact that it does not meet, in my opinion, the code that's required. He mentioned that there were going to be nurses that would come and take care of these people, but the code doesn't allow for employees to come and go in the residential area. That's all I have.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the comments, you've heard the questions. Do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff on this matter?
I have a question to the applicant.
If you'd approach the podium, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the question is, how many bedrooms in the house?
We have 4.
You have 4 bedrooms?
Yes.
So you're looking at a total of
At most 6.
6.
Yes.
Are you planning on living in the house?
Yes.
Now, I know you had made a statement earlier that you will have people, caregivers, CNAs, coming in the house. Did you read what the section and the conditions that was presented to you by staff?
Yeah, I did. But usually with these personal care homes, they
speak up a little bit. Speak up a little bit.
Usually with the personal care homes, some sort of nurse will come in and do some check on them, some health checks on them. That's what I mean.
So that would be a staff member. That would be someone who would be coming in to check on it. Would be outside of the people who live inside that house. That's what you're stating.
Yes. Yes, it would. But I would be there to do most of the caretaking. To do the caretaking, and then just come in to do some checkups.
Okay. Staff. Give me a minute. Now, I just want clarity again, because we keep going through this all over and over again, based on these personal care homes. Okay, the personal care home, first you must live inside the residence.
Yes, sir.
Second is that you must be the provider for that person that lives inside that resident.
Yes, sir. The owner occupier should be the primary caregiver with support to be given by the family.
Like support given by the family.
Yes, sir.
So whoever in that family member must be kind of certified to be able to know?
No, so it's not.
They should be the one doing it.
Trained nursing care. It's more of assistance with routine activities, maybe the assistance in medication, giving medication, and any routine activities, really. So non-medical in nature.
Non-medical in nature.
Yes, sir.
But if there is a medical need, then they would have to call either 911 to get that type of assistance versus someone coming in providing that assistance.
Yes, sir. So staff outside of if the primary caregiver isn't trained or if they need additional assistance, staff wouldn't be something that we could permit in the personal care home, the family personal care home.
Okay, okay. All right, I'm gonna yield.
Actually, what I'm hearing is we're talking about the same thing we just dealt with in the last item, correct?
Okay, so here's what I think the distinction is, when it comes to these personal care home uses. We do sit down with the applicant, we make sure that they have a copy of the code. I think they're trying to very transparently share with you how it is their intent to run the use on the property. I don't know that I think it's sort of exactly the same situation, that we were in previously. We do understand that there is need under our code to better define the nuances among all of these various uses. But what I would encourage this board to keep in mind is that you're being asked to consider the land use on the property. If at some point we come back and find that there is a violation on the property, that use is not being conducted according to what the requirements of the code are, that becomes an issue for code enforcement. So I would just ask this evening that we kind of focus on what the request is for the specific land use. And then at the end of the day, when they go through the whole building permit process, occupational tax certification and things of that nature, that's where we will worry about can they or can they not do specifically what they're wanting to do to get their ultimate approvals. Does that help clarify?
I think so. I got a couple questions for you. So with that being said, was when the applicant admitted to having employees come in, which is outside of our code, isn't that basically like him saying that he's not going to stay within the regulations, that you're saying that if he gets outside of them eventually, then we would have to shut it down? And I know we're within the land use, and so I want to stay in purview legal, so check me if I'm not. But sometimes it just seems that if the applicant gets up here and says, hey, I'm not going to follow your code, I'm going to be doing it in a different way, like that kind of ex-nays the application as a whole.
So again, whether you vote to approve or deny, that's the individual decision that y'all will make specifically. The applicant did say he is aware of our regulations. At the end of the day, if there is something that happens through the course of the permitting process, once you decide to act on the special use permit that would suggest they're acting contrary to our regulations, that is an issue for code enforcement to take up at the appropriate time. Now, again, I'm not telling you one way or the other how
Gotcha.
you're hearing all of the information presented at the hearing. That's why
Gotcha.
it's a public hearing. Everybody gets a say, in the matter. Everybody gets a voice in the matter, but ultimately this board has a say. What I'm encouraging you to do is to focus on the land use question in front of you and then leave any kind of potential concern about how things need to be operated to the appropriate reviewing departments. Does that-
Beautiful. Yes, it does. Can I speak to legal real quick? The one who's gonna be here for the longest. No, not in this. I know you won't be here next month, so I want to give her practice. Okay. All right. So, to keep us safe as a board.
Absolutely.
I know that it's important for us to stay within purview and for us to look at land usage. But does it step out of purview if we hear things within the applicant's presentation that incline us to believe that he's going to step outside of our code to use that as weight when we're making our decision? Is it inappropriate for us to use that knowledge that we gained as a part of our decision making?
So I believe I understand your question, and I just would like to guide you to the criteria that's in the UDC in evaluating use permits. That's what this application is, for a use permit for a personal care home. And there are maybe about 6 or 7 items that you are to be limited to for your evaluation, and that's what the staff report does. It goes through those 6 to 7 items and says they meet or don't meet. And so that's where you should remain your focus on the criteria that, and you can use the information you hear in the presentation. You can use the information you hear from the public as they speak during public hearing. You can use the information you hear in responses to questions that this board or even the Board of Commissioners may have to evaluate the criteria to see if they meet it. So yes, everything that you hear, regardless of the source, is fair game, but in determining whether or not to grant these type of applications, you have the criteria to guide you, and that's where you should stay.
Okay. All right, last question is going to be for the applicant, please. All right, so I heard one of the constituents who came and spoke in opposition to your application mentioned that there was a public hearing held to discuss your application and that a number of people showed up and then you weren't there. Can you just give me some details on why you weren't there that day?
Well, the first time I submitted the application was from last month, so I was supposed to do this on in July, but I had a mix up with the sign, so I had to take it down and redo it for the next month. But for last month's community hearing, I was here and no one showed up, so I didn't show up for the next one.
Got it. Okay. That's all I need here. Thank you. No further questions.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it over to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, are there any questions? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. The first is for the applicant, so if you could please approach the podium, greatly appreciate it. So I thought I heard that you currently own 6 other properties. Did I hear that correctly?
No, I don't own 6 other properties. I have my mother, she runs a personal care home, and that stuff is separate. I pretty much started working in the personal care home after college. So I worked as pretty much IT and did other admin stuff. And so I've been a part of this for a couple of years now. And so those 6 houses are something completely separate. This is my own thing that I'm doing separately from that.
All right, so are you saying then those 6 homes are not owned by you and your name is not
owned? No, it has nothing to do with me.
Okay. How long have you been living in this home?
For about a few months now.
A few months. So tell me about the neighborhood. Just kind of give me some idea about the neighborhood, like the traffic you've heard as far as a lot of traffic that's in the neighborhood. And I pass by there all the time, so I know it's a lot of traffic. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well.
I haven't had any real problems. The only thing is during like probably rush hour, like around 4 or 5, there is difficulty leaving the property, but that's basically it.
I'm sorry, you said you hadn't had any problems during rush hour. I'm sorry, if you could speak up, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only problems that I would have is leaving the place during rush hour, because there's always someone stopping at the red light, or at the stop sign, I mean. And that's the only difficulties I had over there.
Okay. So hearing that there's a potential of a roundabout coming that would be right there in front of your property, that would definitely be an impact.
Yeah, that would help a
to
lot.
that. So can you kind of talk to us about what you foresee there and how you envision that impacting the facility?
Absolutely. The roundabout would definitely help with the traffic. With the roundabout, I don't see us having any problems trying to get in and out of there.
Okay, but it could be more increased traffic and faster traffic coming through the roundabout potentially, so. Okay.
I wouldn't see a difference in speed. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. So you said that you live there, and who will be assisting you to help take care of the of your clients?
Well, I'm going to be living there doing the assisting, like the code says. But,
All right, so you'll be by yourself, and you're saying you're taking care of, I think you said up to 4 clients, is that?
Up to 6 if I can get
Up
that.
to 6. So you're saying you yourself will be responsible for 6 elderly clients at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
I can ask her if she can get some clarification.
Just for clarity purposes.
Okay, sure.
So yes, it is a personal care home that he will be the main caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we say people will come to the house occasionally for assistance, that is required by DCH. So we do have to have an RN stop by every 30 days to 60 days for monthly checks. So we will have people coming in and out, but not frequent. For him being a male, what I have seen in the past is usually when we have female clients come in, they're not comfortable with a male caregiver. So once we get to full capacity and it's female mixed with males, he will have to have a CNA who will have to be a live-in caregiver. So it's not a clock in, clock out, coming in 9 o'clock to 5. They will have to also stay on premises as well. So the ratio will be more, it will be better.
Okay,
If it's a full capacity of 6. So yes, DCH also will be the ones to determine whether or not this house will be approved for up to 6 patients. So not necessarily him saying that.
Okay. So am I hearing you correctly to say that he will be there
Yes.
24/7?
Yes.
But from time to time,
Yes.
he will have relief or someone else coming in. I think he said a CNA and a RN could come by monthly to do monthly checks.
On RN, yes, per state. Usually the states actually does do that, those RN checks. And if it's a private client, then we do the RN checks ourselves.
Okay, when you say a private client doing the RN checks yourself, can you expand on that?
So, so we get clients either way, either private clients that we will work with hospitals and get them directly, family pays out of pocket. Those are our private clients. So we will employ an RN, which we do have. We work with a lot of people as a network. So we will employ an RN to do our monthly checks. But if it's these clients are coming directly from the state, either CCSP source or ICWP, then yes, the state does have a case management agency that does those monthly checks and quarterly checks as well from a case manager. So I know one of the neighbors were concerned about the safety and unrelated individuals. DCH is this whole program is regulated. They do not play. They do unannounced visits. They come in and they approve everything. Occasionally, yes.
Okay. All right, so one of the stipulations were no more than 2 cars at any point in time. So you don't have capacity to have more than 2 cars, and you can't park on the street.
Yes.
So can we talk about if you have up to 6 clients, and if those clients have visitors, how are you going to monitor the parking of not having more than 2 cars at any one time or having on-street parking?
So usually what I tell people when it comes to the parking issue is we utilize adult day centers for visiting. Family does come by if they want to occasionally, but we do organize family day visits at adult day centers. The good thing about Marvin is his mom does have this business, has been in business for over 20 years, who has an adult day center out in, I believe it's in Marietta or Powder Springs. So we will organize those meetings there. So when it comes to families don't come in all at once, we're not going to have 6 different vehicles coming all at once. It's never so. Never. We do have, I think, two personal care homes on the same road, on Boma Road. Myself, I'm 2.3 miles away from this property. So I'm very familiar with this business. So we do have a couple from Boma Road, Pope Road. There are personal care homes, and there's no such thing as traffic. You can barely tell that there's something going on in this home. So just something to think about.
Okay. Let me ask this, and we talked about elderly patients. Is the home adaptive for any wheelchair, if we have to have wheelchair patients or those that need any special equipment?
Well, yes, these some do have to have a wheelchair accessibility. I'm not sure if we have put in a ramp. Have we? Yeah, it's still being put together, so most definitely we will have a ramp put in place for that. Yes, it does have to, per state guidelines, it has to have wheelchair accessibility.
Okay. All right, I wonder, thank you. So staff, I'm just wondering if anyone here could give us any traffic updates or any type of information on the traffic study. Again, I know that is an extremely busy intersection. So if there's anyone, and I see Manager Director Suleiman Rana coming, so. Any statistics or numbers or metrics you could provide on the traffic there would be greatly appreciated.
Good evening, Board. Commissioner, roughly speaking, I think we're looking at roughly 10,000 cars per day for this intersection. Pope Road sees about, I would say the last estimate numbers we have is from 23, it's about 8,000 cars. We are projecting, because this is a growing segment of the county, we are projecting, because we have a project underway, we've done some growth analysis, we're projected to see about 18,000 cars here every day over the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay, so currently 10,000 per day.
Correct.
And it could escalate up to or grow to 18,000 cars per day
That's
at this particular intersection in this corner here.
Correct.
All right. All right. And then I guess my other question is just for emergency vehicles. With this much traffic, how can we envision emergency vehicles, especially given the population that's being served, that there will probably be an increase in ambulance or fire to come to the resident? How do we envision that impacting that traffic as well?
Commissioner, just to clarify, is that in the light of our project or just with the existing conditions?
With the existing conditions.
Well, existing conditions, first responders get priority. I understand that there's congestion during peak hours, there's backup. Everybody's supposed to clear way for them to access what they need to access. I understand it could sometimes be troublesome and delay their response time, but that's just the reality of the community we're in. You know, there's traffic congestion on the street. Speaking with fire chief and just having macro conversations, I don't think that's a concern, and I don't think that would be a concern for this specific property. And this is not the busiest road in the county, so I don't see that as a concern for our public safety or first responders to respond to this address.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I think that is all the questions that I have. So, Madam Chair, I'll yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. Any other questions? Vice Chairman Alcaraz, you have the floor.
I just have two for the applicant. So you said you just bought this house a few months ago. Did you buy this residential home just for the intent to start a business inside the home?
No, not at first. It was just there to stay in, but I wanted to start my own business, so I decided to do it here.
Okay. All right, so what medical background do you have?
I don't have any medical background. The background of working in personal care homes and a day center.
Okay. Since your CNAs and RNs are only going to come by every 30 days to check on these patients, and until you get to full capacity, you won't have somebody else living there 24 hours a day. What are your plans to take care of these individuals who have medical issues when you're there by yourself and you have no medical background?
Well, I've seen how it's done, so I know what to do. I've seen how it's done in the day center, and I've gone to these other houses, so I know all the procedures that I would need to do. And I'm not sure if I would have any real difficulties taking care of these elderly, but I think I'd be fine.
I've watched nurses and doctors, but I don't know what they do. But, okay. All right. I'm going to yield then back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions, Board? All right, I yield the floor back to you,
Thanks,
Chairman
Madam
Simmons.
Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussions. Do I have a motion on S 2025-64?
This is Melissa Polk. I make a motion for denial of application S2025-64.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Frank Payne, second.
I have a motion and a second. Planning and Zoning Board, do we have any discussion?
I do have just a few statements, discussion-wise. It seems that there's two things to consider here. The land use side of it, which I'm all about people's property rights and their land use. But then the regulatory side of it and the safety aspect of if this can be managed by somebody without that background and with them needing to bring other people in. It makes it difficult because I don't think we necessarily have anything in the code that speaks towards it, and it's kind of ambiguous as far as whether or not staff will be coming in and if that falls outside of our code. So it makes it difficult to respond to this situation because there's a need. So I just want to mention that, you know, we as the board, you know, our ultimate goal here is to look at property rights, the land usage side, and that all those areas were checked in regards to the planning and zoning staff. That'll do it for statements. Thank you.
Any other comments, discussion, Planning and Zoning Board?
Yeah, or Kurt has, you know, we look out and we see that everybody is aging. And where are they going to go? Where are they going to be? How are they going to be housed? And I think it's very important because I heard the young lady who got up and talked about her elderly family member. We all deal with that. I dealt with my grandmother with dementia, and it was very hard because you look at both sides of this. When they get in a critical state, sometimes they do become very violent and aggressive towards others, their own family members. And you know, we talk about property rights. Property rights is very important. But we also have to look at, you know, if you're doing this for personal gain, or are we looking at this, are you doing something to give back to the community? And when you look at a time frame of when you've been there for a while, like some of you residents have been there for a long time, and you know, you have the opportunity to do the same thing, but most of you love your homes. Y'all treat your homes like they're, you know, there for you, pass on legacy. So when we have to make these decisions, we have to look at a broader scale so that we can look at and make sure that you, the residents, and the person that are purchasing a home is doing the right thing in your community, in our community, because that is what we have to look at. So I yield the mic.
Any other discussion, Planning and Zoning Board? Okay, we have a motion for denial on the, so I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion to deny S 2025-64, please signify by raising your hand.
Yeah, Frank's second.
All opposed? Madam Chairman, S 2025-64 comes to the board with a recommendation for denial.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we deny S 2025-64 at this time.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board?
Yes.
Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a resident of the community, I certainly value that we do need to ensure that our elderly are protected, that they have place to go, and that they age in place gracefully. However, I am very concerned about this particular location. I am concerned about the traffic and how much traffic throughput is coming there, as well as what's being proposed with road widening, with roundabouts coming, and other activities that's going to be taking place in that corner, in that very location. Also, in regards to the future clients and those that will potentially be coming there, I do have concern there as well. So with that, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you with the motion and seconded as made.
Okay. Any other discussion, board? We have a motion and a second on the floor to deny. All in favor of the denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 4 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for denial with no opposition. Thank you. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Okay. If you folks want to exit, we'll stand by for a minute before the next item comes in. Okay, please take your discussions outside. We have other business to take care of. Almost. Okay, Mr. Cronin, our next item, please.
Yes, sir. Our next items are M 2025-02, Z 2025-66, and S 2025-65. Future land use map amendment request from County Crossroads to Community Village Center, a rezoning request from general commercial to heavy commercial, and a special use permit for a convenience store with fuel pumps at the intersection of Highway 5 and Highway 166. The lot is 4.10 acres thereabout, and this is in Commission District Number 4. The property is vacant and heavily wooded at the roundabout of Highway 5 and 166. The applicant's requesting the County Crossroads to Community Village Center rezoning from general commercial to heavy commercial, and a special use permit for the convenience store with fuel pumps, and an additional leasable space at a 6,100 square foot building footprint. We've taken a look at the relevant code sections. In 1989, there was a request for rezoning from R1 and M1 to C3 for future general commercial use. The property was formerly split zoned, and then in 2024, there was a request for a convenience store with fuel pumps that was denied. The proposed future land use map amendment could introduce compatible zoning districts that are of greater intensity than this crossroads has historically developed. The proposed rezoning for the proposed use would introduce a greater intensity of scale than the similar established uses in the area. Should the concept plan change to a different use, the zoning would remain. The proposed use represents an observable saturation of the convenience store with fuel pumps used for this area at a greater scale than other similar uses. Staff has received an unverified community survey with 481 responses representing a majority of citizen opposition to this request. The request for this site, as stated earlier, prior was in 2024 at the October 29th meeting, was denied for a convenience store with fuel pumps. We've taken a look at the future land use criteria, we've taken a look at the rezoning criteria, and the special use criteria. It's currently general commercial at the roundabout of Highway 5 166 and undeveloped. And here's a site plan with a 4,500 square foot convenience store and a 1,500 square foot restaurant or additional leasable space. And here's a picture of renderings provided by the applicant. It's in the County Crossroads future land use and the resort conservation character area. Staff's recommending denial of the future land use map amendment based upon the following findings: that the proposed use or proposed future land use amendment would make compatible zoning designations that may require additional utility infrastructure development not currently planned or available. The proposed future land use map amendment would introduce a change to the cohesion of land use pattern in the area. And the proposed future land use amendment would modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan, and that it may introduce land use types that are not anticipated to develop at the intensity of scale proposed within the designation without commensurate utility expansions, which are also not anticipated at this time. Staff is recommending denial of the rezoning request based upon the findings that the proposed rezoning would modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan, and the proposed rezoning would adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. Staff is recommending denial of the special use permit based upon the findings that the proposed use will modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan, and the proposed use is at an intensity of scale that is not common at this crossroads and may not be supported given the practical constraints on the property in terms of sewer access, acreage, and incompatible use buffers, as well as other requirements under the UDC to be determined at the Development Review Committee process. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cronin.
Yes, sir.
At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, that would like to speak in favor of this, or the public, please approach the podium. We have 2 minutes per person with a 15-minute time allocation. If you'd state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Neil Spradlin, 45 Little Road, Sharpsburg, Georgia. I'm a civil engineer representing Fraser 3 Holdings. Worked with these guys for many years. Several stores that I've helped them with in the Noonan, Coweta County, Sonoy area. And we would love to bring the Fraser brand to Douglas County. We need 3 things tonight for this project to happen: a future land use map amendment, rezoning, and a special use permit. In fact, you could build a store there now under the general commercial zoning, but as soon as you add the fuel pumps, it triggers all of those additional criteria. So that's what we're asking for tonight. Looking at the land use map, you see that much of the surrounding area is designated as rural places. This is either existing residentially developed or undeveloped land. However, you look along Highway 166 and Highway 5, which are major transportation corridors, you see a lot of different colors on the map. Okay, there's various types of existing and commercial uses there. So we believe that it is reasonable to change the future land use designation for this site because it's a small site at a major intersection diagonally across from another gas station. The proposed land use and development intensity is the same as what's already existing at the intersection. Granted, this is a little bit larger store and a few more gas pumps, but it's the same, in our opinion, the same development intensity. The project would create no detrimental impacts to public health, safety, or welfare. There are no infrastructure improvements needed to support the development. Traffic is well served by those state highway transportation corridors. The roundabout intersection handles the traffic quite well. The project would require some turning lanes at the proposed driveways, which will be designed and permitted through Georgia DOT as always.
Okay,
The site will be served.
That's your 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? You'd state your name and address for the record, sir, in 2 minutes.
I will. My name's Bruce Frazier. I live at 475 Dixon Road, Noonan, Georgia. I'm the founder of Frazier's. I grew up in Douglas County. I went to elementary school here, Stewart Middle School. I graduated from Douglas County High School. I'm 63 years old, and I've been gone a little while, but not far, 25 minutes away. I was lucky enough to play football for the late coach Jimmy Johnson, and those were the days. I go to church in Whitesburg. We got many family members that are friends and classmates, church members, all in this area. I see them often. So I don't move around much. I'm 63 years old, and I hadn't moved around very much. But we have Frazier's. There's six locations down in the areas that he told you, Sonoya, Noonan, Coweta. It's been a dream. I want to bring one back to my hometown. You know we need you guys to approve it. All I can say is, if you know our stores, they're different. They're different. We have a very good following, and we won't let you down if you vote for us. I guarantee you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
My name's Gene Willis. I live at 9804 Highway 166 in Winston, Georgia. I grew up knowing Bruce, and I know he's got some fine stores down in Coweta County. I'd love to have one in our community. I'd love to have a locally owned store down there. And I believe Bruce would have a good store, clean store, that we all could be proud of down there. That's what I'll come up here saying. I'm not a good speaker, so that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. You did fine, sir. Appreciate your opinions. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please approach the podium You also would have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Yes. Sabina Kelly.
You can pull the mic down.
Sabina Kelly, 9565 Grand Drive, right off of 166, right there in the area. I'd like to deny this because we have a gas station across the street. We don't need another gas station. I have gone to all 5 of, I think he has 6 stations, but I've gone to Sharpsburg and Noonan and every place he has a gas station. The one that he's wanting to put there has 12 pumps. It's a lot larger than what we already have. There's no price tags on any of his items in the store to let us know what we're going to be paying for or how much. It's got a barcode for the scanning once you get up to the cash register. But as far as being handy for us to figure out if we really want to buy a product or not in his store, and it's mostly food items. And his gas stations are close to schools, and I feel like they're mainly for the high school kids and elementary kids to go there and buy their junk food because it's loaded with junk food. Not many groceries, not many anything else. I think it had 2 bags of cat food or dog food or whatever. It's nice, it's pretty, but the gas is also much higher than what we pay for here in Douglas County. And I'm still worried about the parking lot being with our WSA and the oil spills and everything being larger and any trucks going in there, 18-wheelers or whatever. And the roundabout does have to be a lot bigger. Our roundabout was too small compared to what his areas had for his stores already. Let's see. I'd still rather us take care of our police station down there that we need and more schools for our kids and put a moratorium on gas stations, especially on Highway 5 and 166. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? If you'd state your name and address for the record and in 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Natalie Espy. I live at 7514 Sugar Springs Drive in Douglasville, Georgia. I believe these are good people, the Fraser family, but I'm asking you to deny today. We live right in the area on Caps Ferry. We can barely get out onto Caps Ferry, and then we can't get up to the stop sign to turn to go to the roundabout, so traffic is a major concern. The idea that we need another gas station, we do not. We have a gas station, of course, across the street from where he's asking to place his, but his will be much bigger. We have a gas station approximately a mile up the road. We also have another gas station maybe a quarter mile up from there. I believe that's Pops. We have a general store that came into our community, which we do appreciate, and we do go to, and we're very glad it's there. Our needs have been met, and we thank you guys for allowing the businesses that have been there for quite a long time and supporting them. And I wish to support them as they are. Safety is a major concern with the traffic in the roundabout. The children are just up the road in the school in all of this. And to say that gas stations are safe, I don't believe they are when we're talking about what's in the air, what's in the water, what's in the soil. And we appreciate where we live, but we are on the water system with the county. We all have our own septic, which means this particular nice gas station that's very large and new would need that. I yield my time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Name and address, and then 2 minutes, sir.
William Mulligan. I live at 7775 Hannah Road, right off 166 in Winston. And I actually just came to hear, this came up in late 24, the same thing. And so I just wanted to see what it was about. And to me, it all sounds like the same meeting that was held in October of 24 that was denied. And from what I can read and heard, pretty much everybody recommends it's denied, to be denied. I like that it kind of stays rural out there, and people made statements before, it's hard to get in and out of. He made the statement last time that he had no trouble getting in and out of the one at Highway 5 in the roundabout at 166 with his boat. So I feel like we've got plenty of gas stations. We got one at the top of our road, Pops, Chevron, and the one at the Highway 5 roundabout. I just feel like that's enough for our community. And I'm not a good speaker, but I just don't see the difference what's going on now and what was going on in October with all this. Seems the same to me. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Name and address, and then 2 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak, actually. There are, like other people says, there are lots of gas stations within a 4 mile. If you see, there are already 6 gas stations, Highway 5, Chevron. There is across the street, there is a Akmal, there is a Chevron down the street on 166. If you go further down towards the Carrollton, and there is a pop store. If you go only not even 1 or 2 mile, there is a Hannah Road, Marathon stores. And if you go on a post road, there is a McGill Market. So there are already 6 gas stations right there. So there is no point to, because I've been living in Douglas County since 2010. I also own one gas station in Hannah Road and Highway 166. I am very, very close to get the permit from Douglas County to put the new building over there. And also I am I'm in process to buy the across the street Akmal. And next year, I'm going to put the new building over there. So there are already lots of gas stations. Plus, on the top of that, when the elementary school and middle schools are, when parents put the kids in school, at that time, lots of traffic, and they have to be wait in a line for a long, long time. The same time, when they get off from the school, the same situation happens. So it's not good for people to waste their time, and also it's not safe. And these all existing gas stations owner, they've been paying Douglas County taxes like property taxes, inventory taxes, income tax to the IRS, sales tax to the state. A lot of taxes we paying, employer taxes to state, and this is not fair with the existing gas station owner, because this is their bread and butter. So it is not fair to keep leg on their stomach. So my kindly request not to approve these new gas stations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do you have any questions of the applicant or the applicant's representative or of staff?
Chairman, it's Rob Thomas. I have a question for the staff first.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Ms. Groen. Refresh my memory as to I think it was 2024 when this similar request came.
Yes, sir.
Why was it denied? Do you remember?
So the request was similar. A smaller footprint is being proposed here, smaller footprint is being proposed here. The feedback was generally that we could do a little bit better with this area. Kind of want to hold out the commercial for higher order of uses. And so staff's position is largely the same as a result of that, and the comprehensive plan as well.
So the future use map amendment needed to be done for the other one as well, correct?
Yes, sir. The proposal change with the future land use map, the previous proposal was for a change to the mixed-use corridor,
Okay.
which would introduce a slew of uses like light industrial that generally wouldn't fit within this area. The county crossroads represents a lesser intense designation that could possibly allow like the PUD, which would require sewer, or other zonings where the infrastructure that's suited out there is not where it needs to be to support that. It would introduce a higher intensive uses here in terms of zoning. What I mean by that is like the zoning that would be compatible.
How would that affect the other parcels in that area if this is approved? Just we start with the future use map.
Yes, sir.
How would that affect the other parcels, or would just affect that one parcel?
It would just affect this one parcel. However, if that's not to say that someone next door couldn't ask for the same.
Okay. One other thing, back with the didn't have any conditions, recommendations.
Yes, sir.
Typically, you would say, you have in the past you said, hey, look, if the board inclines to approve this, then here are the conditions. I noticed we didn't have that on this one.
Yes, sir.
So this is outside of any other concepts.
Yes, sir. Yep. We didn't propose any conditions on this round, but if the board is willing to, recommend conditions to us, we'd happily administer them.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I guess my question really is, the reason why you didn't do it is because there's too many variables here?
No, not necessarily. So, in general, we put those conditions as like a safeguard, but for this proposal, we've heard from the last hearing that it was a denial for a similar use. This one is maybe slight changes to the footprint, but similar in nature. So the board's direction last time was denial. So if the board direction is still denial for this one, given that not much has changed, then we didn't feel it appropriate to recommend conditions at this time.
Okay, I'm trying to drill down a little bit because by right, they can put a convenience store there right now.
No, sir. So we
Could
need
not even by right without the
heavy commercial zoning and then the special
okay,
use.
so it's
plan.
general right now.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Okay, so they had to be heavy just to put a regular convenience store without pumps.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at this point, they couldn't even do that without pumps in the current zoning.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Okay. So not only, okay, the future use map, just another layer of denial. So we have two things. You're trying to change the zoning. You deny it because of the zoning. Well, not design. You're not approving or recommend approval for the zoning change, but primarily also the future use map is one of the sticking points as well.
Yes, sir.
You got other ideas for that area.
Yes, sir. No designation within this crossroads deviates from the county crossroads.
Okay.
So to introduce a different one would just be like a spot.
Like a
fix.
spot zoning or spot change to the map.
Yes, sir.
Okay, which is not really recommended to do per se, but it happens. It does happen in time to time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, I understand. Okay, I yield, that's it. No question.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board?
Yes, this is Melissa Polk. I have a question for the applicant, please. Hi. My quick question to you is that when the Fraser brand had decided to select this particular land location, we are planning and zoning, so land is supposed to be our focus. So when we selected that particular land location, was a consideration made, or what were the thoughts on knowing that directly across the street was a gas station, and then on 166, probably less than a mile, was a gas station, and then 0.8 miles from that is another gas station? What was the thought process on feeling like this was a good, like, let's move forward on this? Like, can you explain that to me? Sure. In regard to land usage?
That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely. We did a lot of homework to investigate the feasibility of the site, and we're well aware that there are a handful of existing gas stations in the area. I just want to tell you, the Frazier's brand is different, okay? Their stores are different, and we believe that this area is underserved, okay? I know we've heard from some people who say, you know, there's plenty of gas stations, everybody, you know, has their opinion, but we've done the feasibility analysis. We feel like it's underserved, and we feel like that it's an ideal location for a Frazier's store, given the traffic volumes, the location at that intersection with the great big roundabout and the traffic that's there, the proximity to the schools. There's a fire station like less than a mile down the road. So all of these reasons stacked up for us to feel like really solid. In fact, one option that we did consider was possibly trying to acquire that existing site that's diagonal across. We never got to the point where we could make an offer on that, but we considered that because the zoning's already there, right? We would skip this whole process. But once we kind of drilled down and started looking at that, we realized that that existing store sits on 0.8 acre parcel, very small parcel, and that you couldn't rebuild that store. You couldn't rebuild it and do the required parking, landscaping, stormwater management, septic systems. You can't put all that back on that 0.8 acre parcel. So we looked across the street.
Okay, and then I just want to clarify, when you said that when you all were doing your research, you felt that that area was underserved. So I just want to get a little clarification, because underserved meaning like each of those locations would provide gas, right? Each of those locations would have food items there. And some of the businesses that I was talking about even got freshly prepared food available to purchase there as well. So can you please, as a resident of Douglas County, just kind of tell me, where was I being underserved by the other facilities around versus what Frazier could offer me?
We feel like it's underserved because the existing stores they're older legacy stores, okay, if you want to call it that, maybe. Let's put it this way, if they built a brand new Publix grocery store across the street from an older Ingles, the Publix grocery store is going to attract a lot of customers, right? The same thing is true here. And I just tell you, the Frazier's brand, I really appreciate the lady that spoke earlier. I actually took the time to drive to Noonan to see some of their existing stores. They're really, really nice stores, right? And they have stuff, they have the food options in there. I mean, I actually have a copy of their menu if you want to see, breakfast, lunch, and dinner menu right here. They have food options, they have groceries and motor oil and, you know, I mean, you name it. There's a lot of stuff in the store that people would find very, very useful instead of having to drive a further distance to get those things.
Okay, thank you, I yield.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning Board?
Yes, I have a question, but I have it for Transportation DOT.
Yeah, I believe he left.
He left?
No,
Nope, he is back there, he back there. He ain't
The
going
Deputy
nowhere. I
Director,
saw him.
Bruce Mercer is here.
The boss is here. The man with a plan.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. Kind of want to do a little discussion about the traffic study, or based on, you know, they said there's going to be more pumps there. How would that impact that area already, which has got a lot of traffic moving through there? How would this store come in, gas station, affect that area?
I'll give you some existing traffic volumes along each of the roads first.
Okay.
A traffic study was not required as of yet,
Okay.
but will be something when we go further into DRC that we will require. But currently on Highway 166, we're averaging about 4,600 cars. That's probably a third of Chapel Hill, just so you can compare quickly. Highway 5 is approximately 3,400 cars a day. So, you know, that's even less a little bit there. As far as, I did some just manual calculations for AM and PM type peak hour access points. It appears about 200 vehicles in the morning, approximately 170, 180 in the afternoon PM hours is what we're looking at for a site of this size. Again, I will say this as far as a traffic congestion and operation is concerned, the traffic circle is the most effective as far as reduced accidents. Everybody slows down to a very slow speed to enter and exit. Highway 166 is a 55-mile-hour road. You'll travel through that traffic circle at 10 or 12 at the best.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, you answered the question. Unless you have something.
On that note, what about the other, the current gas stations there? Is any issues with like accidents that happen a lot around there? I mean, because the concern is if you put this other one here, it's going to be a lot more traffic. Well, what about now? Have you any issues about the traffic concerns of the current gas station?
Well, accidents are kind of predictable with percentage increases. So if we add more volume, typically you're going to add accidents. However, I would say it's more of a reduced mode when you're talking about a traffic circle because you've reduced the speed so much, and that's what reduces your accidents. So if there's existing accidents in the area, I didn't pull that data. There may be some minor rear end type accidents, entering or exiting a driveway, but both of these, I know where the driveways are for the existing station. It's very close to the proximity. There's no speed generated typically, unless somebody makes a mistake every now and then and pulls out in front of somebody. You're not pulling out in front of somebody running 62 or 65.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, planning and zoning?
Yes, I have a question for staff.
Yes, sir.
In the last project, in 24, which was denied, and your recommendation on this one is also denied, what, if anything, would you recommend that could go in that area?
So by right, in the general commercial zoning designation, it allows for small-scale retail, professional office, small-scale restaurant-oriented uses like a strip center you would traditionally think in a general commercial area. So those are the kind of uses that are typical of the general commercial.
Okay. All right. And it's on septic too, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to find out.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll give it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, we have any questions? Vice Chair Alvarez, you have the floor.
This is just for the applicant. Just see one from the applicant. So again, I just want to understand it. And I'm not denying that your brand is a great brand. Now, but from the previous application that was denied, and I don't know if you guys seen that video or anything like that, but a large majority of those constituents in that St. Andrews area and all down there area just made it very clear to me they did not want another gas station. And so I'm just trying to get an understanding as to, did you guys, take time to look at that before you just brought this application forward? Because that's just, I just feel bad because I'd have been glad to have a sit down and talk with you, about this before allowing you to get so far into the process. And two, it was brought to my attention that other gas station across the street's under contract to be completely rebuilt to a better looking gas station to offer some more amenities. So I was just curious. I love that he's from here. I absolutely love it. Would love to have a Fraser Brands here, but I'm just having a hard time comprehending as to why that location when the other application was denied.
Well, yeah, certainly we were aware of the other application, that it was denied. There was a waiting period before you could reapply. I think one of the things that distinguishes this one from that is that The previous application, I think, had some, at least early on, they may have changed it right at the end, but I think there was some provisions for some trucks fueling on the site, perhaps. And that was an issue that was brought up at the community information meeting when we met with a couple of people, was, truck traffic. And so, so this site obviously doesn't have any parking places or fueling stations for tractor trailers, right? It's just passenger cars and pickup trucks. And then the traffic that patronizes a convenience store is what a traffic engineer would call pass-by traffic or pass-through traffic. So they're cars that are already driving on Highway 166 or Highway 5, and they stop at this location because they like the price of the gas, or they like the food, or it looks brighter lights, or it's more convenient for them to turn right into it instead of going around the loop and, having to make some extra turns, right? So certainly before the Frasers invest millions of dollars to build a store here, they have fully vetted, they feel like they've fully vetted all of these issues and are well aware of the other existing stores in the area. And those stores are not going to go out of business. Let's face it, they've been there for many, many years. They have virtually no overhead. Their buildings the land's probably paid for by now. So, nobody's going out of business, but people are moving to Douglas County from all over the country, moving to Georgia as a whole. This region is growing. And because of all these reasons, we feel like this is a solid location to put this kind of investment into Douglas County and bring the Fraser brand here. I think that it would overwhelmingly be a positive for the community.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wish we'd have had a conversation beforehand. I'd have loved to have had a conversation with you guys to express some of these concerns.
Right. You may not remember, but we actually did meet with you a few months ago
Was it
about
the one about the fried chicken?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we talked about
All
that.
right.
Yeah. So we met with you, and then we met with the DRC, Development Review Committee. So we're well aware of all the intricacies of the whole permitting process, and we've talked about, having enough area for the septic system and the reserve area and the primary area and all the Dog River watershed, and all the stormwater requirements. And I mean, trust me, the water quality requirements are way up here. And so we understand we got to comply with all that stuff and design the site so that all the stormwater, is treated and contained before it leaves the site, and that no pollutants, some cars will drip a little oil or grease, or somebody might spill some gasoline, I mean, all of that's got to be contained on the site and treated before it's released. And so we're well aware of all those things and willing to comply with all that if you guys chose to allow us to come. And if I could just say one more thing too, if you chose to approve this tonight, we would suggest as a condition that you just condition it for this specific use, so that that applying this heavy commercial zoning is specific to this particular use, and there's no other uses within that heavy commercial zoning that could come to this location. And then one other thing that the Frasers wanted me to make sure that you guys knew is the hours of operation for their store. Okay, they open early in the morning because guys get up and head to work and they need to fuel their trucks and get their coffee, right? So they open at 5 a.m. in the morning, but they close at 10 p.m. every night. Lights are out, roll up the sidewalks, and everybody goes home. So that's pretty reasonable hours of operation, 7 days a week, and it would, like I said, it would be, in my opinion, overwhelmingly positive thing for the county.
Okay. All right, so Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much. Vice Chair Alvarez, Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. This is for the applicant. Just one real simple question. Did you at any point in time consider just having the convenience store only without the gas station?
No, I don't think it would. The business model doesn't work without the gas. You know, all their other stores have gas, and that's the business model's really based on that.
Okay, so it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, yeah. Yeah, it really is. And that the little tenant space that's attached to this building, real quickly, is will be a restaurant. We don't know exactly, or it could be a restaurant if you guys choose to approve this. We don't know exactly what particular brand it would be. I know that at one of their most recent stores built in Sonoy, they partnered with Guthrie's Chicken, okay? They've also in the past partnered with Subway, but it would be that tenant space would have a drive-through and also have some interior seating as well. So.
All right, thank you. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay, I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion? We've got 3 items here. We'll take up each one of them separately. Do I have a motion on M 2025-02, the future map use amendment?
Chairman, this is Rob Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to deny M 2025-02, the future map use amendment.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
This is Melissa Polk. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the motion to deny M 2025-02, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, M 2025-02, the future land use map amendment comes to the board with a recommendation for denial, unanimous.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to deny M 2025-02.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board?
Yes, Madam Chair. It's not that I don't think you guys bring a great product, but my constituents have been on me since this application come back on saying, how could you approve this one when you denied the other one? And to the county, what precedent would it set to the applicant that was before us, and I denied them and then approved this one? I think it would put the county in a good place in regards to those coming back and to the county. But I do not deny you I would love for you to come back, but can we find somewhere that doesn't have another gas station within 2 miles of each other? I'd love for you to be here, and I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other discussion, board? We have a motion and a second on the floor for denial. All in favor indicate by raising your hand. We have a 4 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for denial, and I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The next item is Z 2025-66. Do I have a motion on the zoning?
Ord Curry, I make a motion to deny Z 2025-66.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Frank Payne, second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the denial of Z 2025-66, please signify by raising your hand. Again, that's unanimous, Madam Chairman. Z 2025-66 comes to the board with a unanimous recommendation for denial.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have another motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to deny Z 2025-66.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate, of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a full unanimous vote, and the motion carries with no opposition. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Planning and Zoning Board, I need a motion on S 2025-65, special use permit.
This is Frank Payne. I recommend denial of S 2025-65.
Rob Thomas, a second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor of denial on S 2025-65, signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's also unanimous, Madam Chair. S 2025-65 comes to you with a unanimous recommendation for denial.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Once again, do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to deny S 2025-65.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a full unanimous vote, and the motion carries for denial, and I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons, with no opposition.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Ms. Duncan, the next agenda item, please.
All right. Tonight I have one text amendment to bring forward to you. This was, we pulled the text amendments off the agenda at the July meeting. This is in regard to Article 3, Section 348. This is in regard to temporary events. So we have just made some clarifications to our overall document. The full language of the text is included in your packet with the highlight, underscore, strike through that shows you what we're changing. In general, we are clarifying this code to make it clear that a temporary event is always subordinate to the principal use on the property. We have also revised our categories of temporary events. So we previously had, a special event and an outdoor event. But we're clarifying that to be 6 different categories. So special event, business event, outdoor event, a seasonal business use, which was a previous use, an agriculture-related event, which was also a previous use, and then we added the film and entertainment event to encompass our film permits. We have added our code enforcement department as a required sign-off for all of these, and then we have also revised the review timelines. So we're going to require a minimum of 14 days unless a greater amount is specified elsewhere in the code, and I'll speak to that again in just a minute. So right now we're saying a maximum of 4 temporary event permits in any combination is allowed without a special use permit, right? So if I go back to those 6 categories, on any given property, you get a maximum of 4 events of any kind, of any combination of these. So not 4 of each, but of any combination. Otherwise, you have to go for a special use permit. So that's a clarification from our previous code that left that a little vague, in terms of how many different types of temporary events you could do on a property. And then we gave a little bit more flexibility in the number of temporary events per property, but again, the overall is just 4 events per year, unless you want to go for a special use permit to allow the ongoing events from the property. I'm sorry for the tiny print. I know this is hard to see, but we added a table that required an additional level of sign-off for temporary events. So we required additional approvals for events with amplified outdoor music. We required additional approval for events with over 200 participants, and as well as events lasting more than 2 days. So in these particular ones, we have said staff review has to happen for every temporary event, and those are the various departments that have to sign off. So that would be planning and zoning. Now we're adding code enforcement, as well as the sheriff's department, the fire department, and the risk and safety department. And then for the certain events that exceed those thresholds of over 200 participants, or lasting more than 2 days, or having outdoor amplified music, we are adding a signature from the Board of Commissioners chair. There's an optional signature for the district commissioner as well. If you wanted to walk that back a little bit and just make that a notification of the district commissioner, we're fine with whichever way you would like to go on that. And then we also clarified the sign-off now is currently required for alcohol by the chairman of the Board of Commissioners. We still kept that as an administrative approval, but if there's going to be alcohol at an event, it has to have the district commissioner to be included in that as well. And then we clarified the requirements for any events taking place in county facilities. Right now we have a working relationship with our Parks Department and our Senior Services. Those are the 2 departments that primarily have events in their facilities. But so we've kind of clarified that you're going to have permission from both that department as well as a temporary event permit in certain circumstances. We've removed the section from the yard sale permit from the UDC. It's already required under the Code of Ordinances, so we don't want to have duplicate provisions that say something just a little bit different. So we're just taking it out of the UDC because that is something that's already required and regulated through the Code of Ordinances. And then we've just, added the clarifications and references and a few non-substantive changes to definitions and things like that. But that concludes my presentation on the temporary events, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at the appropriate time after the public hearing.
Okay, that's just Article 3.
So right now, we're only doing Article 3, Section 348. As a reminder, I know you have a bunch of them on your agenda, but we have to run our legal advertisements, 6 weeks in advance of the hearing. So there's a few other things that we'll be bringing to you over the course of the next few months as we refine those texts, working with various departments. But right now, the only one that I have ready to bring forward to you is going to be Article 3, Section 348.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the amendments, UDC amendments to Article 3, Section 348, please approach the podium. Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Again, no one moving. I will close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of staff?
I have a question of staff.
Yes, sir.
Could you go back one more? Okay. Now, did these apply to communities who are in a covenant, HOAs?
Yes.
So, because they do have clubhouses and they do rent those out to to the residents in the community. So after 4 events, they would have to request?
Well, so again, a clubhouse has a different purpose.
Okay.
Right? So a clubhouse is used as a community gathering space.
Okay.
So I would say that that's not the type of facility that is necessarily going to require a temporary event permit. Now, if they were doing something with outdoor amplified music, over 200 people, or a multi-day event, we should probably have a conversation. But there will be some discretion in a case-by-case, basis to determine whether or not a special event, a temporary event permit is needed. So a good example, one of the businesses that most frequently pulls temporary event permits is Harley Davidson out on Thornton Road. So they basically can, operate in a commercial capacity day in and day out. But if they're having kind of special promotional events or anything that may, serve beer as a part of it, then we work with them on a case-by-case basis to determine if the scale of the event rises to the threshold of needing a temporary event. I'd put a clubhouse in the same category. So just use by the community that it serves for specific types of gatherings. I would say that's a use by right for that clubhouse because that's its purpose. But anything that kind of exceeds a scale, we would just want to have a conversation about that potentially.
I just want to kind of clarify about something about the alcohol. Is it? So, was it in there?
An alcohol permit, to get a temporary alcohol permit under the Unified Development Code requires sign off of a temporary event permit in advance. That is our current process in the Unified Development Code and the Code of Ordinances.
Okay, that's all. I have no further questions.
Any other questions?
I have a question, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
What's the current lead time, the way it is right now, for someone that want to put applications for temporary events permit?
So our code requires a minimum of 14 days.
14 days.
Right.
And see, then we have additional requirements, sign-offs,
So we're
code enforcement. How much is that going to change that lead time?
So we're still keeping it at 14 days unless a longer timeline is otherwise required under the code. So for example, alcohol requires a minimum of 30-day sign-off, right? So we're not necessarily changing that. We looked at changing something to a longer timeline, like I know we've talked about, 30 or 45 days. The reality is when we went back through the last 6 years of temporary event permits that we keep 5 years on hand, and so we looked at, 2025 plus the last 5 years of event permits. The majority of them are small, right? So pushing everything back to require a 45-day timeline for everything would most likely disproportionately impact the community scale gatherings, the church events, things like that. Admittedly, every now and again, we get an event that comes in and they're either not completely transparent on their application or there's other things that happen in conjunction with that event. And then again, that's where we kick it over to code enforcement to use our regulatory authority if they shouldn't be doing that. But we think that by far, most of the events that we get, the 14-day timeline is appropriate and wouldn't necessarily impact somebody trying to come in and, do just kind of a community scale event that's more typical of the process.
Can you go back to the small print? Right, so those are additional people that need to sign off for different events?
Yes, sir.
Different size events? And
Mhm.
you don't think we need to increase the lead time?
Well, so again, it's 14 days unless otherwise specified in the code. So for some of those events that are larger and have more signatures, then we specify a longer review timeline for that.
Thank you. I yield.
Any other questions, planning and zoning?
Yeah, real quick, would this apply to like nonprofit owners who host book bag drives and things of that nature?
Potentially.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thanks.
Anything else? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the board for questions you folks may have.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Board of Commissioners, are there any questions regarding Article 3, Section 348? Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. So I guess the only question I have in regards to, we have the amplified outdoor music with over 200 participants in the event lasting, I would say, for me as a district commissioner, more than one day. Well, if it's multiple days, I would like to know about it and like to have the opportunity to sign off versus it's 2 days going into 3.
Okay, sure. So if it's one day going into 2, you
Right.
would still like the sign off?
Absolutely.
Or sign off or just notification?
Sign off.
Sign off? Okay.
Yeah. That would be my request.
Yep, we can certainly make that change.
All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. Any other comments? Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
In that whole span there, so you're asking or you're stating that we, the district commissioners, will approve versus just being notified?
A sign off would imply approval. And if we don't get a sign off, then we would not issue the permit from the district commissioners. We will leave it up to this board if you would like sign off or if you would like notification.
I would highly recommend that only notification versus approval. I just really think that creates a bigger problem. And I don't know, it looks to me as legal is nodding that you want to say am I off, or that just?
No, I don't think you're off at all, Commissioner. I think that requiring, and respectfully, I know that Allison works hard and is brilliant, but I do think from a legal perspective that when you get into requiring approval, you can potentially get into some discriminatory practices.
Correct.
And so I certainly would not recommend a process that requires the district commissioners to approve or disapprove an event. So that's my feedback.
And I would say, just approval from even the chair and commissioners, but notify, I would highly say yes to that, but not approval. So I would definitely like to think we all should know, not just by the district it's in, but just by the mere fact of just notifying all the commissioners and chair, but not approval. So that would be my only recommendation, to remove that portion of it and only make it notification, and you guys do, the due diligence of approving, qualifying, and certifying, and all the other stuff, and just notifying us that this is what's going to be going on in your neighborhood. But that would be my recommendation. Outside of that, I yield.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Are you finished? Okay. Vice Chair Alcaraz, you have the floor.
So who all is currently on the approval list? Who all has to sign off on an event of this size? And also who all has to sign off if there's alcohol served?
So currently, the required sign off is the Sheriff's Department, the Department of Transportation, the Risk and Safety Department, the Fire Department, and then P&Z signs off as the last approval and issues if all other approvals have come through. That's for any current temporary event. The chairman is required to sign off for a temporary alcohol permit. So the chairman is not required to sign off on a temporary event right now, but they are required to sign off on a temporary alcohol permit, which requires a temporary event permit.
Okay, and it looks like legal's behind you again as well.
Okay.
And the list of departments that she named, they're signing off based on their respective expertise, right? Obviously, sheriff for public safety, fire for crowd control. so on and so on. I just can't think of what, not saying you guys aren't experts in your own rights, but I can't think of what the basis would be for an elected to sign off for approving a permit, right? Because there's not a discipline that you are, restricted to. So just wanted to add that perspective in response to Commissioner Mitchell's request.
Okay, no, understood. But yes, I definitely think by all means, the commissioners should be notified. Because I've had one bad experience, and I want to make sure that we're notified, we get a heads up, because when these events start getting planned, especially if it's something in a residential area, we are the ones that are getting the phone calls left and right.
Yes, sir.
So I do ask for that to happen, but I just wanted to make it known who all has to sign off on that, and I do agree with code enforcement being placed on that sign off. I yield back, Madam
Yes,
Chair.
sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Paxton, you
Yes.
have the floor.
All right, thank you. So I understand the thought process in regards to the district commissioner not signing off. I guess from a legality standpoint, if you are made aware and an issue occur, is there some risk still coming back to the county that the commissioner or the board was aware of an event and something went awry, but we had previous awareness? Does that still put us in a predicament where legally there may be some legalities that come back to the board?
I think that would be only applicable for the disciplines that were named. Like if fire knew that this event was happening in a facility that only could hold 100 people, and they signed off on an application that said 200 people, right? That would be knowledge prior to, but gave their approval. That does not apply to electeds, right? Knowing, in fact, as the representative, legal representative of the county, lack of approval is almost better, because then you can't be named in your individual capacity that you've approved something and then something has gone wrong, right? So that's protection for the electeds to not be named in potential suits if there were liability. When you're talking about staff, you're talking about the county, right? But to add you as a final decision maker would be problematic. So no, the answer to your question is no, only if in the non-arbitrary, non-discriminatory application of the respective disciplines of these departments in their approval, I think, yes, there could be some liability, but certainly not at the elected level.
Okay.
You're not exposing yourself to liability by knowing about it and something goes wrong, because what's your what is your liability?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I just want to, I hear Commissioner Mitchell saying, no, don't sign anything. But I'm like, well, just by awareness, could there still be a risk or potential that, we could still be liable if something
we gave you
occurred?
approval rights, and then, because then it's like, I've allowed this to go on, right? Because known or should have known is usually the standard for legal claims. But not having them, then no, you were just notified. You didn't have the authority to stop the event.
So, and that was kind of lead into my next question. Then there would be no opportunity to stop something if you, as a commissioner or as an
What would be your
elected.
basis for stopping it?
Well, it could be something, and I can't make up anything off the top of my head, but there could be a reason or rationale to say something that we would say, no, we're not in agreement with this, for whatever the case may be. It's not non-discriminatory. It's something that we would have a basis for making a claim or saying, well, I don't know if that's the best thing.
Unfortunately, I think something like that could lend itself to, again, discriminatory practices. Because while it might not be you, Commissioner Raxton, it may be, someone that comes on the board at a later date who is, I don't know, who's atheist, and the application is for a Christian event. Right? And so they say, no, I'm not in agreement with that. Now we've got a problem. So you certainly don't want to put policies in place that would even open this body up to those type of decision making.
Okay. All right, so that's fine. So what I'm hearing, though, there's really no recourse for us to put a brakes on anything, so that's fine. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
But I'll
Okay.
say this, Madam Chair.
Okay, you have the
we,
floor.
we shouldn't want that responsibility. That's why we got staff. That's why we got legal. That's why we got, those to make those kind of decisions, not to get crossed up into atheist or Baptist or rap or whatever. As long as I know that they were out doing rap and they were gonna have 200 individual there and everybody signed off from staff to the sheriff and they got the proper things in place. And if it goes all right, then not that so be it, but
Then it gets turned over to code enforcement, and we take all
Then-
appropriate measures under our code
Correct.
to regulate the event.
That's why I think all that approval process should lie with you guys, not with us. Because it just creates another can of worms that could become problematic. So I'm totally in agreement with legal saying, nah, we need to stay out of that and let staff do what staff do. So
So
if
right now,
we-
I'm hearing, oh, sorry. go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so I would say remove the approval side of that page, to notifying all of us that these events will be going on. And if we have any problems with it, we'll notify you guys to say, are you sure that's what's gonna happen? Are you sure there's gonna be, medics and so on, and the crowd is gonna be this size? Did they sign off? And Q&A you guys to make sure that it's correctly done.
So just a couple of clarifications. What I'm hearing is we'll change the district commissioner sign-off to notification of just the district commissioner or all of the commissioners?
All the
So
commissioners.
notification of all the commissioners. And then the threshold of over a 2-day event, we'd like that to be a 1-day going into a 2-day event rather than a 2-day going into a 3-day event.
Yes.
So kind of hearing both of those changes.
And still notifying.
Sorry, say
I'm
again.
just notifying.
But just for
them.
notification,
Yes,
right, correct. Not
right.
for sign-off, just for
Right.
notification. And then the, oh, shoot, I had it.
You have a senior
one more.
moment.
So is for the notification, and I might be getting too ticky-tack and legal
Okay.
can throw something at me from behind, but would you like to be notified at the time of application or at the time of, issuance of the permit? Or at what point would you like notice to be given?
I mean, legal may throw a book at you or something, but I would just say,
I don't want this to be, respectfully, a one-on-one conversation with one commissioner, right? This is
Right.
something that all of you need to agree on, at least a majority of you, right?
Correct.
So what one commissioner wants, maybe the other three don't.
and I don't mean to cut you off there though, but I think we're all listening, and if there was some concerns, I think they would all speak up and say, well, no, because if they want it, then I think they would actually speak up and say, no, we need to have approval, and then we'll go from there. But I think everybody's paying attention. I think we're all adults, and we'll know if we want to be notified, and we can agree to that. Fine. If we can't, then we'll just.
And I also think staff's recommendation and process to ensure that the electeds are not involved in day-to-day operations would be certainly welcomed here, right? Like, when is a good time for the electeds to be notified that an event is happening in their district? I can't say when that is because I don't deal with the day-to-day.
But I would say across the board, though, all of
Right.
us, not just the districts.
The entire board,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay, but what I was gonna also add to say, going to the notification timing, I guess, in that process, I would say from start to end, because I'd like to know when it started,
You said the time the event started?
No, I apologize. The starting of the process, when the applications are being processed, just, I think an email to us all to say, hey, there's a rap concert happening out west and blah, blah, blah. Cool. Now, and once it get all the way down to the approval, because it may not make it once it goes through the process. But I think notifying as soon as that way we can start watching the process, looking for potential pitfalls, because I think we'll all be watching the websites and that kind of stuff when they're starting to promote the stuff, and we can kind of alert you guys to say, are you guys sure that they're saying there's only going to be 200 people here or 2,000 people? Based, so I don't know. I would like to say from the start to the end, but I mean, these guys may have difference of opinion. They might want to wait till the end and just say, it's on Saturday the 5th, notify me on the 4th, and I'm good. But I would say from the start to the end on the notification, that's all.
Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner
Yeah,
Mitchell.
I'll get back, yes.
Well, I guess my question is, if we get it at the start, then we're still having the conversation with staff, so then we're still not meddling, but we're still getting involved with the staff versus us giving an approval. So we still getting into the day-to-day, I guess, in that instance. So I guess for me, my recommendation would be at the time of the CO.
That's cool.
Event permit.
Yeah.
That's
Event
cool.
permit.
That's fine too.
I mean, if we're gonna stay away, let's stay all the way away. Just give us the information when it's about to occur and that it's been approved.
Okay, so I'm hearing text amendments. Any other general issues with the text amendments? Because what I'm hearing is change the 2 to 3 day to a 1 to 2 day event. Notice of all of the commissioners and notice at the issuance of the permit to the commissioners.
I think Madam Chair getting ready to have a comment, and I think we'll probably
Okay.
finalize it. I think she's got something to add to. Oh,
Yes.
well, both of them have something.
Can you go, Vice Chair? You can.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think from the time of application to the time of the CO, because when these residents start getting wind of this and start calling us, if it is denied, we can safely let them know it's been denied.
Okay.
But time of application, some of these, it's on social media, and we already start getting calls. So I don't want to be in the daily operation. I'm not going to call you, ask you if it got through. I just want to know the time of application, the time of if it's approval or denied, and that's all I need to know. And
Okay.
so I would like to see it through the process.
Sure. I mean, we're fine. We're fine with whenever y'all want to be notified. We can certainly make that
I'll
happen.
yield back to you, Madam Chair.
So are we in agreement with, just from the time that you said it's initiated?
Depending on what you say.
Well, I'm in agreement with
Okay,
with
so
what
there
Vice
it
Chair
is.
said, but I had
Start
another
from finish.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah, my question was
Yeah.
related to something else. You know, I know traditionally on the alcohol permits for the temporary licenses, you know, it's been, I believe the managing director and then myself that sign off. Is that something, should we tap the shoulders of legal to make sure that's okay? On the traditional, that's been a process
We
that's been.
can, so that's code of ordinances. It would take a different amendment process.
Oh,
other
okay,
than
I'm
what we're
good.
doing
Okay,
here.
I
But if
just
you would
wanna
like us
make
to
sure.
revisit that, we could follow up with legal at a different time to.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure
revisit.
when she said we didn't need, the question was regarding that alcohol permit. That's already in play, is that?
Different process now.
Okay,
Zoning, yes.
okay, thank you, I just want to make sure. I don't want to put my signature on anything. Okay, thank you. So, if there are no other discussion matters,
Well, and I-
we'll yield
and I
the floor
think
back to
that
you.
We will understand the way the board is going when the motion is made, right? So I understand there's some good discussion here. We appreciate y'all taking time to kind of get into some of the weeds of this here because we want to make sure that we're doing y'all. So whatever the motion ends up being, that is whether it's at the time of application or the time of permit issuance, we'll go with that, so. But otherwise, I guess,
Minus the approval of the commissioner and the district. We're having a question on making the motion.
So,
All right, how
so
about-
again, my understanding is that if we are inclined to approve the text amendments, it would be a motion to approve the text amendments with the changes that would say, notification for an event over 1 day as opposed to over 2 days, as well as notification of the district commissioner at either the application or the issuance of the permit. Would be what we're clarifying. So if we have a motion, and y'all are in agreement, I'll
Allison.
understand that that is the language of the
Excuse me,
motion.
Allison, excuse me, point of order. I'll let legal, because I was, yes.
Another option is, we can say the language and someone on this side can say so moved. Or your other option is to allow us to bring back the language that reflects what we've heard up here today, and you do a motion to defer. And then when you have the language in front of you, you can tweak it or agree with it and make the motion when you have the final language, since there are some changes that need to be made. So you got a couple of options.
I like the first option.
I too.
No, that she bring up, you say everything you just said.
Right, and just go with
And
it.
someone says so moved.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I like that a lot better.
And Allison, if you would make it just what we stated, don't try to make it, too all confusing, to just say it's this, meaning we agree to start with just notifying the commissioners. It'll start from the initial start of this, and the 1 day, 2 day deal that commissioner action, and that's it, and let them just take that motion and move it, and we're done.
I believe those were
Yes,
the
that was it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Okay,
And
all right.
we're good.
So my understanding would be, if you were looking for motion, the staff would understand it is the will of the board to make a motion to approve the text amendments as presented with the following changes. Number one, that there will be notification of the district commissioner for any event,
All commissioners.
excuse me, notification of the entire board for any event that is over 1 day instead of over 2 days. And there would be notification of the entire board at the application timeline, or excuse me, at the time the application is submitted to staff, as well as at the time the application is approved by staff.
Is Rob Thomas so moved?
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a
Discussion?
motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Did you have a question, Chairman Simmons?
No.
No, okay.
It sounded good to me. All right, having no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Madam Chairman, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
For Article 3, Section 348.
Okay, Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers about Article 3, Section 48. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve that with the amendments by staff, but also to include approval or denial in there, so that we're also notified of, because you did say approved, but approval or denial of the,
Understood.
all notifications and applications.
Understood?
Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of Article 3, Section 348, as it, with all the recommendations, please indicate by raising your right hand. So sorry. We have a full unanimous vote, and the motion carries with no opposition. I yield back to you, Chairman
Thank you very much,
Simmons.
Madam Chairman. Having nothing else to come before the plan.
We have one more item. If you will just beg our indulgence for 5 more minutes, we would like to introduce, not for a vote, we would just like to introduce something that I think y'all have been asking us to do for quite some time. So, it is on the agenda. Yes. So, we don't need a vote on it, but this is just an introduction to let us know if you want to move forward, and Austin has 2 minutes.
I'll make this quick, everybody. It's just a preview. So staff identified 79 parcels of land that met the criteria for analysis of reversion, where they didn't meet their vesting, either property that was vacant or... Oh, it's not.
No, I'm sorry. So we will defer this to the next meeting.
Yes. That was quick.
Yes.
Thank you.
The Sandman pulled him off stage.
Thank you. Apologies. We will put that on the next item. So so we are done. Thank you.
Having nothing to come before Planning and Zoning Board, our meeting is adjourned. Madam Chair.
Board of Commissioners, if there's nothing else to come before this body, this meeting is, wait a minute, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a full unanimous vote, and the motion carries with no opposition. And thank you all so much for your attendance tonight, and good night.